Hey, it is Ammo from Difference in Skill. And well, as you can see, this is the long awaited commentary video that I was going to do for the team tournament final for January 2013. And so, yeah, don't criticize me, I'm new at this. And if you guys like it, put down in the comment and I'll make more. Well, I probably will make more, but yeah. So, let's pull this up. And let's watch the game. Alright, so both players starts off with, so this is GP versus Kagero, Spring Breeze Messenger, and me adjusting camera. And on one side I see a Gareth and Pelnor. And I know there's a Dindrain, a Critical Trigger, and some other stuff, but anyway. So he chose to ride the Dindrain, which is fairly ballsy in my opinion, because if you can get like rushed down. Actually, let's take a pause here right now. And go back a bit. Alright, so yeah, okay, so from this hand I can see, or from this view I can see that he has so he has a Gareth and a draw trigger and a critical. And this is Pelnor here. Dindrain, and that's his grade 2, but okay. So he chose to ride the Dindrain, but so that's fairly ballsy, I would say, because it's a 6k, and basically any grade 1 in Vanguard is basically a 6k, and basically can push you for more damage, especially when you know that with Conroe in the back, 5k booster, anything she rides is basically can push you for a 10 or anything, and if she decides to put something on the side that will push you for additional 5, which is, I guess, he's ready to take because there's a 5k. Well, he has a draw trigger, so I guess that's fine. But basically, that'll push you out for that'll push you for more pressure, or it'll deal more damage, and you'll lose more cards in that kind of sense. Especially when you're expecting your grade 2 lineup to be so he only has one card that's grade 2. So basically, you won't. Unless you dedicate your Vanguard attack to taking down the Weird Guard that she might have, then you're basically not going to have the chance to actually lure out a booster and actually destroy it, which is not exactly that great of an idea, because you do trade off the damage here. But anyway, so he rides Dindrain, and yep, ends turn. And from here I can see a Berserk, a Bar, a Tejas, and a Goku. So this is a Goku Kagero deck. So she rides the Bar, which is pretty smart, I guess, because Bar's a good grade 1, and AKs are good, so you don't get rushed down as hard. And he rides the Bowman, and yep, he does not have another grade 2, but she did not. Well, she didn't play the grade 1 earlier, so it doesn't matter, but if she did have one, it would have been rather dangerous. But yeah, so she no guards. Gets a draw trigger because she's good. Now, no way. Oh, she did have another grade 1. Well, yeah, she should have played the grade 1 and attacked the Dindrain and like push out the draw trigger or something like that. And now she's debating to ride Berserker Dragon, I think. And okay, she's debating to ride the Tejas with Berserk, which in my opinion I would obviously ride the Berserk, but the Tejas is fine because there's a messenger behind. But point here is, so you're not really afraid to hit a bad number because you have Conroe and a damage, so you can always get a good feel. So she grabs the Aramo, maybe because there's something she doesn't want, but in her hand right now I don't really specifically see anything bad. So I mean, one Goku, so one grade 3 only, or 2 I think. Okay, so this is a rather bad move because she sends the Tejas out and attack the back, but See? Let's go back a bit. I don't know if you guys like that, but maybe it's better if I just go with the flow. Okay, so she gets a critical trigger here, but she attacked the back row. So now the critical does nothing but add power to Tejas. But the point is here, if you're gonna set up with like one row only, I would rather attack the Vanguard because of trying not to waste any of your like triggers benefits really, unless it was a draw or anything. But still, it would have done a bit more, because if you wanted to attack I feel like the messenger is not as big of a threat compared to dealing more damage or maybe more pressure. But if she wanted to do the Tejas and retire the messenger, she should have put at least another row so triggers would have somewhere to go and then she can attack something with it. But like in this case, she had the Berserk, so she could have actually just played the Berserk out and used that. But she chose not to, and we gotta respect her decision because she is a finalist. So you know, these players know what they're doing. Anyway, yeah, I would have put the Berserk down and like attack again, just so the triggers have somewhere to go. And like, even though it's only a 14 versus no, actually no, she could have made a full roll. Yeah, I would have put the Berserk and the Gojo there, and then that would have done 22 and a critical, and you would retire the messenger, so then you would put yourself in a good position. But she chose not to, so yeah, I think that would be a misplay. Like I think she just wants to conserve the Berserk Dragon for her effect, but like it's not always necessary to actually do that. Like, I'd rather have a full roll versus maybe retire something later in the game. But yeah, that's my opinion. And I think obviously here it would have been a better choice, I guess, because she got the critical. But we could have said that she doesn't get the critical, and that would have changed the situation. But I would rather push for the damage, unless she's afraid of Garmor, because... But yeah, I'd rather push him to 3 instead of like not getting it. But yeah. So anyway, this retires the bunny, and he goes like, yeah, I only have 1 damage, and she has the 1 too. And I think here I see 1 Pelennor, 2 Pelennor actually. So basically 3 Pelennors are out of game already, and basically he has a fairly like no chance of actually getting a superior rider with Pelennor, so that kind of just becomes a regular Garmor deck, except he doesn't get a Garmor either, so yeah. And here I'm just pointing out Tejas actually a knight and not a dragon thing. And yeah, basically 3 Pelennor is gone here, and yep. So she chooses to... Now this is a really... Actually, this is not so bad. Okay, but she ditches the Berserk Dragon, and... which I wouldn't have, really. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. Takes the Vanguard instead, so takes the critical, but she had a 10k, so she could have safeguarded with 2 triggers. And she blocks the Vivian, yep. Prevent the +1. Rides Goku. Puts the 12k stuff. Makes a 20k roll and makes a 19 roll, which is not so good, but acceptable. Well, doesn't matter. As long as it makes... As long as they start blocking for 10 or more, it's usually a fine roll. But like, yeah, ditching... I think if you didn't want to play the Berserk Dragon earlier, especially if you ditched it, you could have just played it out and actually attack with it, especially with this roll. And having grade 2 versus a grade 3 is actually better, because I like to keep my... I tend to like to keep the grade 3s in hand, because I figured that I'd rather feed them to the perfect guard instead, because if you put that on the field, they actually become like no shield value at all, and you can't. But if you put a grade 2, you can still use it for intercepting, and because you have Airmo, you can always ditch your grade 3. But yeah, and she could have took 1 damage. No, she could have avoided actually. But let's say like she took the Vanguard, gets the critical, she would have 2 damage to feed to the Berserk, which would have kind of be the purpose of what happened earlier, because I'm guessing she wants to use the Berserk, but she fed it off to defend, and I think she's at 3 damage, which is not particularly like high or anything, versus a 1 damage, but like if you just continuously play on like this, you'll actually mow down your opponent's hand really quickly, especially because he doesn't have a field right now, and it doesn't look like he has a field in his hand. But yeah, if she played the Berserk, she could have retired the Vivian basically, and gets a grade 3, retires the back row, so now the opponent's at the GP player's at a very bad disadvantage. And 19 yet, or 24, 20, it doesn't matter which one attack first. He still needs 15 for both. Gets a trigger, puts on the Vanguard. Oh, what was that? Attacks are 20, still needs 10. And yeah, I see like, I see. Like 2 triggers, a grade 2 and a grade 3 in his hand, and I can see it's like the 4th Pelennor, so yeah, basically no chance for getting another Pelennor, but actually I hope she ditched the grade 3 to grab a card with Airmo. Let me check if she did. So Airmo attacks, whoops. So Airmo attacks here. No, wait, no. It's not Airmo attack. Alright, does not this... She should have, well, personally, I would have ditched the grade 3 and drawn her card, because, hand size not particularly big, but not so matter right now, but still at the life lead, so... But yeah, I would ditch the Overlord or something to grab another grade 3, especially because I remember later in the game she gets like a lot of grade 3 in her hand. But yeah, so skip back a little. Oh, actually I would have took the damage from here. It wouldn't have mattered so big. Like, I'd rather not lose my unit over there. But I guess because she had to expect yourself to lose a booster in that kind of situation, I suppose. It's not so bad of a block, but I would have just took it and hoped for the best, really, because I have no field anyway. You don't really want to be like, it's like, I should block this because I'm going to lose everything, so I'll play my other Pelennor out and attack now. So yeah, basically, okay, I use a 10k and needs 2 trigger to get through, puts it over there. Yep. Oh yeah. I would have, from here, I would have blocked this one. So I think this guy used the Pelennor to attack the 20k, which is pretty smart. But like, I think because noticing how he only has that many hand, I would have blocked it and continue on to pressure. Especially because he's only at 1 damage right now. You want to push as hard as you can, really. And I think that was the 3rd damage because she did heal 1. But yeah, I would have blocked this one for sure. Plays the Overlord that she could have mulligan for something else, but whatever. So 16, gets a grade 3, gets another grade 3, and yeah, I was right. She gets a lot of grade 3, which is not really helpful at this point. But not looking so bad actually, because she's not really at the super disadvantage, because she's behind by 1 damage, but push for Vanguard, which he blocks. I'm not really sure why, because he could have took, if he's going to take this one, no, he blocks both of them. Not so sure why. I think I would took one at least, see if I get trigger or not, and then block the other one for sure so I can take the Vanguard next turn, unless he's really afraid of double criticals, but I tend to be optimistic and be like, yo, I'm not afraid of this shit. So it gets one roll. I would put down the Vanguard to prevent any like 10k block for 2 triggers, because I think the Vanguard attack's like more important than any weird. But yeah, especially if it's 10k Vanguard, you could have just pushed 5. Gets a draw trigger. Good stuff, good stuff. So I think this is a hacking 22, which unless you were really at disadvantage, I would just take this one, because her hand doesn't really look like it's in a situation where you can actually like block that much. I guess one reason is if she rides the Overlord here, then the whole lineup here would actually get shut down, because 11k and everything is 10 without a booster, so it's kind of bad. But on the other hand, he did check 2 grade 1s, or he did check a grade 1 and something else, so basically you have a good idea of what your opponent's hand should be at. Or you should anticipate that next turn there's going to be more or less going to be full field booster, so yeah. So dishes, draw, pretty standard. Should have done it more often, but yep. 19. And she attacked the weird guard. I would call that a misplay, because the grade 3 really doesn't have any doesn't really have any benefits, and I think you can, and I think he has level 2 quite early in the game before, so something you should have known by then. But yeah, the grade 3 doesn't have any, doesn't carry any benefits, so I would just attack the Vanguard, forcing your opponent to drop either a 10 or a damage, which would be more useful at this point, really. Because like any grade 2 in that roll will make a decent roll to attack any 10k Vanguard, so yeah, that would have been, and she got 15 for her 10k here, so yeah, I'm not sure what happened, so I guess she just, yeah, I think the GP player was just like, wow, it was like my lucky day, she dropped 15 for her 10, so yeah, so basically -1 here for herself, but yeah. I think it's the 4th or 5th damage, but like if it's the 4th damage, I would have took the first hit, especially the reason being is if you try and take this one, assuming that he gets a critical this turn, then you would have to actually guard both attack, and basically I'd rather take the lower damage one and save my guard for something that could be a critical, because I would probably need to preserve my guard for the bigger attack. But yeah. And we're looking at a disadvantage now, because she's on the life lead and has not that many cards in hand, and opponent still has like 4. Regain his hand advantage, actually. But yeah, I think throughout this game, so here trigger counting, which I usually don't really do, because when it comes down to skill, it doesn't really matter how many trigger is in the grave. If people want to get some triggers, they get triggers. But yeah, I tend to actually don't count triggers on the grave anymore, because I just find it like, so something stupid will happen and it will just like mind blow me. But like, yeah, if people are skillful, you can't really help. It doesn't really help if you count or not sometimes. Of course, like equation, like going by logistics, it actually does help, but you know, people are skillful, so yeah, you can't really do anything about that. And attacks the Vanguard, and of course takes it 24, and you only have 3 damage, so yeah, why not? No reason not to take it. Attacks a weird guard again. Not a good play, especially last turn there was a lob ear, so you already know your opponent has a replacement for that slot. So instead of making him drop not 15 here, which would have been false, lost hope really, you should have just made your opponent drop 10 here. Or take a damage, one or the other. Like, it doesn't help sometimes to attack the weird guard when you're kind of in a disadvantage, because if in this case we already knew he had a grade 2 in his hand, but like if you want to try and make your opponent drop, I guess it might have helped if he didn't have a grade 2, but especially when we know he has grade 2, let's just make him drop 10 instead. Oh, she has more cards than I thought actually. But they're all 5Ks, so not as much cards as I thought. So it drops 15 for that, because he did activate the Slago effect, so yep, that became a 21. Or a 20. It's a 20, but yeah, it doesn't matter, same thing for a 10K. And she's at 5 damage now, so she has to guard everything. Yeah, can't really do anything, just has to take it. Gets a critical, so basically, unless she gets 2 heal, which she can't. So yeah, that's the end of the game. And that's my commentary on it, and I'll be doing the second video, or the second match for this after. So yeah. Record, stop.